sometimes cutters like these and skin like that don't mix. But how did it happen? And what are we doing out in the middle of the woods with this old Bronco? Huh?
I don't know.
Well, it's all coming up today on TruckU.
Hey, welcome to TruckU. Now today is going to be a bit of a tough day because anytime you've got your project for the day rolling in on the back of the trailer, it's probably a pretty good sign that the thing's not running. But that's something that we're not really concerned about because this is something we've wanted for a while. It's kind of like a special project we've been looking for, and I think we found it.
We don't even have to change much about it. We certainly aren't going to paint it. I love it just the way it is. 1976 Bronco, baby. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, a little hunting vehicle. It's got, you can see here, the rack on the back, the cage inside. It's got everything we need. As long as this thing runs, it's going to be some fun.
Heck yeah. All right. Let's get it in the shop.
All right.
Plywood. Dude, nice. I like
Nice.
Here's the thing is it was constantly overheating for this guy, and he just said, you know, I've tried to fix it a couple different times. I'm tired of it. Screw it. He parked it. 18 months later, here it is. That's basically it in a nutshell.
Yeah, you can see he tried to address the overheating issue with an aluminum radiator and kind of a makeshift shroud. The thing is, we can go ahead and try and repair what he's got or modify it, but at this point, we just want to have some fun and play with this. So we're going to attack this cooling system. We're going to rip out the radiator and just replace these old parts rather than trying to repair the ones that are here.
I like where your head's at, kid.
You know, sometimes you just got to cut your losses. Look at you!
Well, you could just do that.
You're all grows up. All right, so this water pump is ready to come off, and this is the last piece of the old cooling puzzle we need to remove because now we're going to replace all this old stuff with all the new stuff we got from Tom at Tom's Bronco Parts.
Nice catch on that.
You like that?
By the way, yeah. Oh, that looks good, doesn't it?
I got some skills, baby.
So the story on Tom's Bronco Parts is, you know, back in the early 80s, Tom had a Bronco. He's really into it, and he's breaking some parts, so we start stocking a bunch of them. Well, now, you know, as the future kind of comes in, other Bronco guys find out that he's got all these parts. They start calling him. Boom, the business is born. And that's pretty much how it works. Not a bad deal, though.
Yeah, now today, Tom's stocking thousands of parts each year. He's adding hundreds more, so the business is really going, and for good reason, because he gives you good upgraded components to replace the old ones. Just simply look at the radiator hoses right here. You know, these are a silicone, a big upgrade from the rubber because they have a higher burst point and they're going to last a lot longer. With the lower radiator hose right here, it's got a spring through the inside of it so it won't collapse under vacuum. So this alone could maybe fix our problem. You know, I don't know, but it's definitely an upgrade over stock.
All right, man. Well, these are all new and improved replacements for everything that we just yanked out. So I guess we can start getting this water pump ready, huh?
Yeah, why don't you get that on?
Cool.
You need the gas.
I know. New parts flying in. Now you take a look at this. New thermostat in place, ready to go, right? One step down here to the new aluminum water pump. That's a high volume pump. It's going to move a lot more water throughout the system, keep things a lot cooler, and that will all work hand in hand with this.
That is a 3-core aluminum radiator we got from the guys at Tom's Bronco Parts. Now, exclusive to them, and the one thing nice about it, first of all, it mounts in the factory location. That means it's going to go in easier, save us a lot of time in terms of installation. So we'll make that with a new shroud we got from them. And we are going to have a cool running Bronco.
Got it.
Goes like that. So our cooling system hard parts are all in. We just need to tie up a few loose ends there, but I want to show you guys something we also got from Tom's. It's this brake booster. Now this thing looks good, and we're going to keep it looking good by pouring on a little shark hide to this cloth right here and just simply wiping it down. It's going to protect it, keep it looking good, and keep it from looking like that in the near future.
Now, the next step here is something that we call the hook, and it is the latest generation in the family of the power probe. Now, a lot of you guys have done electrical work before, and you've used the power probe, and you know how much easier it can make your life, and that's what it's all about with this vehicle. So we had a little issue with the headlight up here. It wasn't coming on. So naturally, the first thing we did was swap out the bulb, right? We put a good bulb in there. That still didn't work. So that told us that the light's fine. We just need to go back a little bit further and try to isolate where the problem is. So we got the plug out, and now we can start looking, right?
Yeah, so this spot here in the connector is supposed to have 12 volts to it, but when you put the hook to it, it's showing that it's got a ground.
Yeah, there should not be one there, and we can hot shot that ground.
Yeah, so basically we're putting a load to the ground, and it's telling us that it's a fail, which means it's not a true ground. Give you an example of what a true one should look like. You go to the other side of the connector.
Let me get it in there. There might be some corrosion. Oh, there we go. All right.
And you hit it, and that's telling you that it's passing, so it's got a good ground. So what's happening is you've got a ground going to the connector, but we don't have 12 volts going to it. So somewhere along the line, we're missing a power going to this connector to go to the light. Now it's just a matter of tracing the wires back, using the hook to try and find out where we got a bad connection. And there's a great little fail-safe inside the hook, so when you go back to that other terminal and you hit 12 volts to it, you hit the internal circuit breaker and it immediately kicks on, so you can't damage anything along the way.
Electrical problems can be a nightmare, and what this is going to do is help you isolate them and find them quickly. That way you can move on about your business, right? Now, that being said, we've had 4 or 5 of these electrical problems, which is no big surprise, but there's got to be a better way than just digging through all here.
And there is a better way, and we'll get to that when we get back from break.
All right. Let me hook this up. We'll use that more later on. Welcome back. Now, we have briefly touched on the issues that can happen with leaving an old vehicle out there and neglecting it, those issues that happen to the wiring system specifically. Fortunately, there's a company out there like American Auto Wire, and they make complete rewiring kits for all kinds of vehicles. This particular one is good for a Ford Bronco from 1966 to 1977.
So right here we've got the wiring system for the entire vehicle. Now we're not going to go and strip this thing down bare and start from scratch, but I think there's some sections that were damaged, and I think they're by mice or just, you know, rain and got brittle, you know, whatever it might be, and damaged the chunks of the wiring section. So if we remove those and put in new sections, we can get the job done we want, and at least in those areas we'll have good solid wire. One of them being those headlight sockets.
Absolutely, and this will really modernize the wiring system if we were to rewire it. So that's a pretty cool thing too. And basically anything that runs off the battery, you've got wires for it.
Now the nice thing they do too is they put in this fuse panel, which will go right into your glove box. Now in the factory configuration there isn't a fuse box, and what's nice about this is there's enough available circuits so we can tie in a bunch of auxiliary stuff like those lifetime LEDs, and it'll all go in with our whole new wiring system.
You know, obviously the wiring system is not the only issue that you may have with an older vehicle that's been neglected. Another thing you want to definitely check out before you go firing it up and taking it for a spin is that gas tank.
Yeah. We're pulling out that old fuel tank. We noticed that there was a leak right by the sending unit. So for a number of reasons, we got that 50-year-old tank out of the way and a brand new one to replace it from National Parts Depot.
Yeah, this is a polyethylene tank, so we don't have to worry about any corrosion. And it comes with pretty much everything that we need as far as the hardware, the sending unit, and this, that, the other. The only thing that we did opt for was a new strap, because if we're putting a new tank in, and new this, new that, why use an old strap, right?
Now these guys stock stuff going all the way back to the 1940s, and not just for Broncos. They have a pretty wide selection. For a complete listing, check out the NPD website.
You know, the Power Probe makes the installation of anything electrical a lot of fun because you can play with it and test it before you put it in, right? Case in point are these lifetime LED lights. I mean, you can do that with fans or whatever because of that powered lead right there. Love it.
You know, you talk about the Power Probe, and one of the nice things about it, it's the only diagnostic will allow you to get live current and live resistance. So when we kick these things on, we can show you one of the big features about these lifetime LEDs is that the low amp draw. Now both of these are in a circuit, obviously, and they're only pulling 4 amps. So that's nothing. What I'm thinking is now we can take a whole bunch of these. I'm talking like 30 of them and pile them on this Bronco, man. We'll light up everywhere.
The good thing about Bruno is he never gets carried away with anything, right? But like you said, low power draw, super high intensity. These things last a long time. Lifetime LED, the bulbs last forever. They guarantee them for life, in fact, right? That's why I say they last forever. And the cool thing is you look at these, you got a couple different options and directions we can go. Or you could just have all of them like Bruno. But I think
that's what I'm saying. Why we just do both, bro?
You could.
Why choose?
I don't know. Now, this big bumper, more specifically, these 2 tabs right here, will serve as the home for our new lifetime LED lights. We also got this bumper from Tom's, and it's got a lot of protection up in the front, so we can just mow down the brush, right? We've got sheet metal protection on the corners. It's just big. It looks good. This is everything we need on the front of this Bronco.
You know, I'm thinking maybe we lay a bunch more tabs here. We can get LEDs here, 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 here. You blind the hogs, and then you run them down with this thing.
Or we could just put a big bar on the top, because we've also got options with that. They've got bars up to 50 inches long, so we could explore that option.
That could work too.
Right? Here's what we need to do is get that stock front bumper off, right?
Yeah, I got the bolts out earlier. Hold on.
Now look, I can't lift.
You're medically not cleared.
No, still not.
Right.
Maybe a couple of weeks.
What do you want to do with this thing?
I say we throw it in the blow-up bin.
You don't want to keep it?
No,
right.
no. See ya.
Wait for it.
Huh?
This thing could use a radio.
That was a heck of a throw.
They used to play ball, remember?
You're right. Okay. Well, let's get this done, go to break, and when we come back, we'll start working on that radio.
All right, cool.
I mean, that was a heck of a throw.
You know. It's time for us to get back to work on that 1967 LMC project truck, and we're attacking the interior. And anytime you're doing an interior, you need to attack the bench seat. Look at this thing. It is the big ugly, and it needs to get replaced. You know, a lot of people, when they're taking out a bench seat in a project like this, they'll just scrap the old one and put in a new. But you can save a bunch of money by using the guys at LMC Truck. What we're going to do is save the hardware, save the frame. This way we know it's going to bolt back in. We'll save a few bucks along the way because we're going to install a brand new reupholstery kit from LMC Truck. So we're going to cover the bottom and the top of the seat. It's going to look good. And one little tip for you guys along the way is you want to go ahead and replace the padding. LMC Truck can get you that as well. They'll hook you up and it's nice and comfortable. And I'll tell you, once you get off the old stuff, you realize how bad you wish you ordered the padding because it's been used and abused for 40 plus years. A lot of times you see holes and patches and you got coffee spills and Coke and pop, and you don't want to touch it, let alone sit on it once you get a look at it. So what we need to do is get this thing up on a bench. We can start taking off the old stuff and start putting on the new. With the old bench seat out and on the table, we can use a pair of side cutters to start snapping off the old rusted out hog rings. Now the front bench reupholstery seat kit from LMC Truck comes with the new hog ring pliers and new hog rings, so all these old rings can go out in the trash. With the old seat cushion exposed, you can see why it's important to change these out. Now this one's seen better days obviously, so it's out with the old and in with the new seat cushion. You know, with the cushions in place, we can lay new upholstery over the cushions and use the included hog rings and hog ring pliers to secure the vinyl in place. Now we went with the original black vinyl look that features the scroll detail. This look was original for 1969 to 1972 Chevy trucks and also fit the 1967 and 68 trucks as well. So with the new cushion and vinyl upholstery set in place, this seat is ready for some new seat belts, but we'll show you that next time.
This tip is brought to you by LMC Truck. Restore, maintain, and customize your truck with parts and accessories from LMC Truck.
One of the nice features of the American Auto Wire harness system is the fact that they've got an instrument cluster disconnect, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now, it doesn't really apply to this Bronco, but a lot of older vehicles like this, you can see there is a gauge cluster. So it allows you to go ahead and bring this out to a tabletop or somewhere you can access everything. You pre-wire everything up, you mount this back into place, and what you'll have is a connector or a series of bulkhead connectors that you just simply plug back into the harness. This way you're not laying on your back, looking up into the dark, trying to wire up places you can't get to. It makes your life a whole lot easier. Now, one of the other things that's nice is obviously you come with schematics, so you can lay everything out. Each one of the wires is labeled, so it'll tell you, this is the electric fan, this is the headlight low beam, etc., etc. Now for us, it's important to replace the connector. Now this is the connector for the headlight, so it'll go right here. You've got the ground wire already run to it. Then it's a matter of taking the wiring harness here that supports it and running into place. So we'll put our 12 volts, all that stuff will be handled. We'll have all new wires going to those headlights. Hey, I'm gonna go grab some wire cutters, all right?
All right, you handle that, and I will handle this radio that you wanted. Now, the stock stereo in this Bronco was shot. Who knows when that happened? It could have been decades ago. We're going to replace that with this. It's the Custom Auto Sound USA 630. What we like about Custom Auto Sound and why we work with those guys as often as we do is the fact that we're going to maintain the factory look here. So if you have, especially not necessarily in this truck, but if you're working on a classic vehicle, you don't necessarily want to go chopping up the dash and making it look all bad. Well, this is going to look just like it did when it rolled off the factory. Apparently, we've got a ghost in the shop, which is a little weird, but we'll talk about that later. So you want all the bells and whistles of a modern stereo, though. I mean, they have it listed right here. You've got the AM/FM receiver, USB, MP3, CD, iPod, you name it, optional Bluetooth. You want all the bells and whistles, but again, you want it to look like it did when it rolled out of the factory. I know what some of you are thinking. You're like, Matt, it's a hunting truck. Why is the stereo a big deal? Well, here, I'm going to put it in perspective for you. If you're Bruno and you take this truck out and you're riding out through the woods and you're not able to listen to your Lady Gaga or your Adam Lambert or Wham or whatever it is you're listening to, see, he's going to get a little bit grumpy. If for no other reason than that, it cuts down on the complaining. Now, one more optional system that Custom Auto Sound has is something they call the system. We can take speakers and mount them all through the cab. We can mount a subwoofer in here and get all crazy. Now, we're not going to do that with this particular installation. We don't need it to get out of hand, but if we wanted to, we certainly could. The options are there. So the hog hunting project is coming along, right?
Yeah.
But we need to take a little break from that for a second and come on over here and take a look at these. Now, a lot of times people will neglect the wiper blades because they fall apart. This is a great way to protect them with the blade boot.
Yeah, the issue is if you're living up north and you go to flip your windshield wiper blades on, you've got a little bit of snow or ice on the windshield. This is what happens. It literally takes the rubber and rips it off. So a way to prevent that from happening is you get where you're going, take out the blade boot, and you simply slide it over your windshield wiper blade like that so it'll be protected. When it's time to hit the road again, again, take it off, and boom, you're going to have a full functioning wiper blade, so you're going to avoid this and keep your wiper blade working properly.
This is the EZPuller from Las Vegas Tool. Now, this is something that we use in the shop all the time, especially if we've got something stuck, like a bolt or a pin. It's a great way to get it unstuck.
You know, the best thing I can say about this thing is it works. You know, you simply clamp on to the bolt or cotter pin or whatever it is you broke, use the slide hammer, and you remove it. You know, it's easy to use, it's effective, and it replaces, you know, some expensive pulling tools that they're designed specifically for, like injectors in diesel trucks. This thing really works.
You know, another thing to keep in mind, if you know somebody that's hard to buy for as far as gifts go, and they like to tinker around in the garage, this Las Vegas Tool, this EZPuller, is a great gift idea. NitroPlate is a company that specializes in ceramic coatings. Now, these guys really cut their teeth in the OE world because one example of that is they did all the exhaust tips for the Super Duties, but now their product range is far beyond that.
Yeah, they really branched out to the aftermarket, the racers, the hot rodders, and they do the ceramic coatings on just about anything. You know, they've got 3 different finishes. You've got the bright, what you see right here, you've got the satin, and you've got the flat black, and all of them are going to give you great corrosion protection, heat dissipation, and you know what? They look good.
Here's what's going on, right? Because NitroPlate is actually going to coat a piece like this on the outside and the inside. So you've got the heat on the inside reflecting and the heat on the outside dissipating. So that heat's just going away.
You know, and the thing is, they don't just do headers or exhaust. They can pretty much coat anything you can dream up, from intake manifolds to carburetors and just about anything in between.
For more information about anything you've seen in today's show, check out gactv.com or visit our website at truckutv.com.
So we got the Bronco all done, and it is up and alive and running. So we got the bumpers on the rear and the front. We've got the radio on the inside. We did a whole bunch of things up here because we got more light than we'll ever need, but that's good. It's going to come in handy a little bit later on. New brake booster, air cleaner, radiator, up and running. Now, here's the scenario, right? We could just give it back to the guy because it's running, or we can actually bring it out here and use it for what it's designed to be used for. That is where my buddy Brooksy comes in.
What's going on, Matt? Good to see you again.
He is my resident expert in the world of hog hunting. Now, I know that in some parts of the country, there's too many of these things running around and they're a nuisance, right? So tell me what the problem is with all these excessive hogs.
Well, as you can see, Matt, we're standing in the middle of an orange grove. We got a ranch and a farm right here, and these hogs wreak havoc. They're going to destroy the crops. They're going to put holes in the ground when the cows are going to fall, break their legs and stuff like that.
We're going to offset that a little bit today, right?
Absolutely.
Now, you can hunt them anyway, right? Guns, bows and arrows, whatever.
Yeah, a lot of people do the guns, bows and arrows. We're going to use the dogs.
Right? And get a little bit more hands-on?
Hands-on. We're going to grab a hold of them. We're going to be wrestling them to the ground. It's going to be intense.
Better you than me, but I'm going to watch, dude. I love it. All right, let's load up the dogs, take the Bronco out, and do this.
Sounds great.
Ready.
Good boy. Yeah, it's going to be for real in a minute. Your heart's going to be thumping in a minute, bro.
I'm going to let you do the jumping and the fighting, though.
You're just going to grab a hold of a dog and leash it up, that's all. Gonna make one squeal. There's some down here. See them? See them in the road? We're going to dump the dogs, guys, okay?
Woo! Yeah! We are in hog country, man. We had about 10 or 12 of them cross the road on that side. 2 or 3 went over there. The dogs are going crazy, and Brooksy is somewhere back in that vicinity, so I probably should go look for him.
They got it, boys. Matt Steele, the hog man, brother. That's what I'm talking about.
Brooksy, it's a lot easier when you do all the work. Not gonna lie to you.
I'll carry him like a 6-pack, like I told you. Put the guns to work. Let's go. Told you we'd put these to work.
We did, dude. We put those to work. Not so much these. Lots of those. Nice work, man. I appreciate this. This was a lot of fun. But what do we have?
What you have here is about a 80, 100-pound boar. He's still intact. He's not barred. We'll turn him loose. We'll hunt him again.
Nice. Very cool. Well, this was fun. Thanks, man.
Enjoyed it, brother.
First time ever.
Thank
hog
you.
hunt on TruckU.
Yes,
You gotta
sir.
love it. Thank you, man. This is awesome.
We're going to turn him loose now, guys, so get ready to back up. Woo!